Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Checked In Podcast with Michael and Zac. Let's get right into it.
The Admiral Byrd diary on the Hollow Earth is wild. This Medal of Honor recipient wrote about his encounter with a lost civilization in Antarctica, Agartha. He told the Pentagon about his findings. They set up a military mission called Operation High Jump. As they journeyed into this Hollow Earth civilization, he claimed to have actually met this species of people. He even met with Agartha's leader, who actually told them their concerns of the surface world. They said our interest rightly begins just after the race exploded the first atomic bombs over Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They said it was at this time they sent their flying machines to the surface world to investigate what we've done, which is pretty strange because it was right at about this time we started seeing a lot of UFO activity. And apparently the government knew about Agartha way before Byrd ever did. Hey, I'm just saying there is a lot of stuff in the gray area.
So yeah, I was looking into it a little bit. We've touched on Admiral Byrd before in our Antarctica episode. Basically, he went to Antarctica and found the Hollow Earth and ventured in, and he went back, like he said, to the government in the U.S., told them about that, and they then did Operation High Jump. Found all that, all the inner Earth stuff, and it's just crazy because like planes can't fly over the North or South Pole. In any if you Google Earth, if you Google Earth, like the whole planet of Earth, the North and South Pole are blurred.
Yeah.
At the tips.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they're covering something up. They're masking something. But then what is that thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look into like ancient Eastern studies, like the Tibetan region or the Himalaya region in general, there's a bunch of talk about this ancient civilization that hasn't gone away. And it's like the world or the inner world of Agartha. And then there's the ancient city of Shambhala. Then there's the ancient city of crystals or rainbow crystals or whatever. Like there's a bunch of different things down there that, we have been taught was just all fantasy and all this other stuff. There's some like magical beings like Yetis and
mammoths and all that are down there too.
Bigfoots and like 60-foot mushrooms that grow out the ground, and like all the vegetation is way bigger than the ones up here because it's less of a gravity down there.
That's some also Wonderland shit.
Yeah, literally. So I think that it's pretty cool that they're like, don't let us see that part. I mean, recently we've discovered a video of an actual circle, like a hole in Antarctica that NASA has found. It was like accidentally leaked too because the guy was just like, yeah, this is what we see. He's just like in a satellite on the video, and he's like, yeah, this is what we see. We can rotate the Earth every 90 minutes with this satellite, blah 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 blah. And then he comes across like this hole and he like tries to zoom past it on the video. So the hole's
me?
Yeah, the hole is there.
Let's pull that up right now, actually.
Yeah, the hole is there. It's about 2 minutes. So
first of this year. At the time this was taken, the winds were about 140 miles per hour. And as it goes away, one of the things I was saying a minute ago,
that's the hole right there.
We're used to seeing maps where you always know where north is. It's always up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's not always the case.
Yeah. You look out the window, and sometimes north is left, sometimes it's right, sometimes it makes it a little more interesting to try to figure out what you're seeing sometimes.
Bro.
Yeah.
That's I don't want to play this.
Yeah, they didn't mean to leak that. But yeah. And so with that being said, that's different than what we talked about in our first episode. Like a whole different entrance and like hole or whatever. There's also a volcano that's not in that center part of Antarctica, but it's like the biggest volcano in Antarctica, but you can see the lava. So it's like we would have just seen like bubbling red, like magma or lava or whatever. Yeah. So that wasn't that volcano, because that volcano is like off the center of it. It's like not directly in the middle how we just seen it. So yeah, back to Admiral Byrd. That's what he went into, and you know, they're saying that he's actually made contact with the leader down there, who I guess he rules out the city of Shambhala. And then when they sent him back there, I believe. Pardon?
Is Shambhala different? That because in the video we watched, it was referring to a city or a civilization called Agartha. Is that different?
Agartha,
the word for the same.
Agartha is the whole like dome world of the center of the earth, and then Shambhala is like the capital city where like everything like flourishes and all that stuff. So it's just like that's like the main city down there. It's like the New York City down there, whatever. But they have like theorized that they've been able to manipulate all the frequencies of the earth, meaning like if you think about how some people have determined that ancient Egyptians, like we talked about in our last episode with Danny, that they were able to use levitation or manipulate like Earth's frequency in some way to lift these huge rocks, sandstone rocks, and like form a pyramid or whatever.
Yeah.
They're saying that they've mastered that technology and more down there. And there's like a bunch of smart, intelligent Earth life forms down there. Not only that, there's also that hole is where other extraterrestrial life forms come in and visit. So yeah, that kind of explains a little bit of it. I'm about to go in depth about more stuff that I've learned. So basically, if you think about the earth, there's like the crust and then the mantle, right? And then the mantle is like right under the crust, like you can dig in your backyard. Oh, I dug into the mantle, right?
Yeah.
So the mantle is said to go X amount of feet under, sea level, whatever, or to the sea level or under the sea level. And those caves are all under there's cave people, there's a cave civilization, and they're supposed to like, not go to the mantle. They're supposed to be like evil people down there. I don't know if you guys seen those videos circling through TikTok of the guys that are in the Middle East. They're like geologists going through caves, and like they hear like monsters groaning or like giants groaning underneath, kind of sounds like a bear to me, but like just like ooh, ooh. So like they're under in the cave. So like they're saying, oh, these are the cave people that they were talking about in this like whole hollow earth thing. And then you go further than that, and then there's like water, and then under the water is Agartha, or like the center atmosphere. There's like a center sun in the middle, like in the middle of the center earth or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then a lot of people were also conspiracizing that or discussing that sun came out the center earth because it comes out every 1,000 something years or whatever. And that's why some people were seeing two suns the past couple of months. That's been like a huge trend on TikTok too, that people were seeing like two suns, and then the sun goes back down in that same hole. So like they were saying like, oh, there's two suns on, there's two suns. And there's clear video. I mean, there's like a bunch of videos of it. There were two suns a couple weeks ago.
What happened? What happened to the second sun though?
I don't know. Like I guess it went back down into the center of the earth or whatever. But people were like, yeah, there's two suns. I mean, I seen the videos. It was crazy. I was like, what is this crap? Like, what is?
It looks real.
Yeah, it looks legit, bro. Like, yeah, there was two suns like in the sky. So that's also another thing that like some hollow earthers and flat earthers are saying, is that the sun is still in our atmosphere, blah blah blah. But that could be the thing that kind of makes both people believe in what they believe in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, yeah, going further back into the whole atmosphere thing, there's like I said, huge vegetation. There's all the crystals and gems and like all the same elements and minerals that is found on Earth is in this hollow Earth. But there's a vast majority of it in the hollow Earth because there's more space in the Earth than there is around it. And also there's less gravity, less pull of a gravity. So kind of like the same theory of like being in the eye of a tornado, there's like less pull or commotion. in the center of the tornado versus on the outside of the tornado where there's the huge pull of everything. So they're saying that's kind of like how the earth on the outside, kind of everything is able to stay on the surface because there's the actual rotation of the earth, or the spinning of the earth is what keeps everything like on the surface from flying off. You know what I mean? And that's why the center earth has like less gravity. So yeah, in this whole thing, there's like a map, and we'll probably show it like here, up here somewhere. But yeah, there's a map of this like center earth, and there's like cities and forests, and like there's like 3 lakes or oceans or whatever they call them. And there's supposed to be like this one leader who's been leading. He's like supposed to be able to live longer because down there, your body grows taller, and that's what Admiral Byrd and like his whole like flight crew, when they went back under there, like everybody's so tall and huge down there because there's less gravity, so there's less like, you're able to grow. Everything's able to grow higher, and the environment's so much cleaner and easier to live in and all that stuff.
Yeah, they said in one of the videos I was watching, they said that they went to the center Earth because they were living on the outer layer of Earth. They said they went to the center Earth because the sun's rays were actually damaging them and aging them faster than they should be. So when they went to center Earth and they have that civilization in the center of the Earth, they're living upwards of 300, 400, 500, 600 years because I'm assuming that has some play into it, along with like lifestyle and all of that. But like not being exposed to the harmful UV rays of the sun is helping them live that much longer and look that much younger.
Yeah. And there's said to be like an African race that's been mixed, like an ancient African race that's been mixed with the Greys on purpose, and then like created like a super race because human DNA and the alien DNA like created like some superhuman humanoid type of race where they can communicate telepathically. They can use telekinesis to kind of like manipulate their environment or move things around and like all this other stuff. Not only that, they've understood all the like earth science of like frequency vibrations and different energies, not like on a spiritual sense, but just like on a very like scientific, like physics type of.
They use it to their own benefit to build
shit. Scientifically. So I don't want to like confuse that with like, oh, spiritual, blah blah blah, whatever, because those can be like, they can be like different, but they're actually talking about like actual wavelengths and all that stuff, and like how they can use it to use UFOs and all that other stuff, which is another thing too. People are saying is that UFOs are from Earth. They're not from some Mars or wherever other galaxy that the Greys are from, but they're saying like the Greys came here on a different spacecraft, and that we together with the Greys have made a UFO, and that's why the UFO can move at all these different angles, directions. At a blink of an eye, it can be over here, and that they're able to control the UFOs with their mind versus like with a joystick in a plane or like a steering wheel. So like space.
It makes more sense. Not that it makes more sense, because I feel like each theory is plausible coming from outer space or coming from center Earth, but like I feel like the Hiroshima and Nagasaki, how there were more UFO sightings post atomic bomb.
Oh yeah.
It makes more sense that the extraterrestrials, so to speak, are coming up to the surface or visiting Earth after that happened, because if they're living in the center of the Earth, they have, back to what you said in previous episodes, they have some type of care for the Earth and its well-being.
Oh yeah.
And the reason why is because they're living in the center of it. So if we fuck up the top of the Earth, the outer crust, like they're in the center, they're just as susceptible. And I mean, dropping an atomic bomb, that has detrimental impact on anybody on the outer layer of the Earth.
Oh yeah.
For miles. And there's there's one instance where an atomic bomb was accidentally dropped in the Atlantic Ocean, I believe. It was an
Mm-hmm.
atomic bomb dropped in the Atlantic Ocean by mistake. And according to all records that I've seen, has not detonated as of yet.
Wow.
So there's an
Okay.
atomic bomb that's bigger than the one we use in Hiroshima and Nagasaki sitting
Yeah.
on the ocean floor. And if that blows up, it's
Yeah.
over.
If it's still, I'm saying if it's still there, because they have the. I mean, if you think about it, like hypothetically, they have the technology to possibly move it. You know, unless it's just that sensitive where because the pressure of the water, it could blow up or whatever.
Yeah.
But maybe they could. Maybe they could have moved it somewhere else.
They could have, but
Like, I
they're
don't know.
saying that this thing was like 4 or 5 times the size of the bombs they dropped on Hiroshima.
Yeah. So
that's a big bomb.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know personally, if they put me on a mission to go fuck around with an atomic bomb at the bottom of the ocean, I'm like, that's a hard pass.
Yeah. So then there's another thing too, with the Hollow Earth civilization, that they've come to peace. They're at like there's no wars down there. There's nothing like all these like so like the Bigfoot, the Yeti, and the Sasquatch. Yetis are more like in the mountains, like especially the Himalayan legend. Bigfoot's more like the America, Sasquatch more like South America or like other areas. So like the Sasquatches, I guess they're an ancient indigenous folklore too, mostly like North American, South American. They have been said that Sasquatches are actually here to protect humans, but also protect the protect the humans from the cave people or whatever, because I guess the cave people are like very malicious or whatever. And that the Sasquatch and the Yeti, or I guess they call them all like the Bigfoot race. So they're all grouped in the Bigfoot race. The Bigfoot race's job is to basically protect people, but they also have these underground caves and tunnels that they travel to get back to the center of Earth. And they're actually not dumb beings, they're actually smart and big, and that's why you see them disappear out of nowhere, is because sometimes they can just drop into these caves because they know where the caves are. And that's why it's been harder for people to spot them or find them or getting actual footage of them.
Yeah.
There's some people that have caught them on trail cams or surveillance cameras. But yeah, there's like also like mammoths and all this other stuff that people haven't seen in like thousands and thousands of years, or even bones of them, you know what I mean? So like that's the crazy thing about it too, is just there's a bunch of like folklore things that have been made into like a mystery or fantasy or make believe that could actually very well be true, but hidden from us for our own benefit, because if we can figure out where they are, hunt them down, man's first thing is, hey, we want to dominate,
Everything.
we want to dominate everything. This is our world, and da 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 da. But it's just like if something's not even trying to like fight us or can beat us, and I wouldn't want to fight a Bigfoot. I mean, like, come on. I mean, like something that strong.
I've seen videos, interviews of people who have quote unquote encountered Bigfoot, and there was one where it was this older man and his grandson were fishing, and they spotted they were fishing and they saw some like rumbling around in the woods. Trees were moving, which is like very uncommon for like a bear or like just any animal in the woods in general. The whole trees were moving. So when the being or the animal that came out from doing all of that was a Bigfoot, the grandfather immediately had a shotgun, shot it. The thing was not phased. It got pissed. It was throwing fucking boulders into the water near them, like stop your shit type shit. But you can't do it. Like, we can't do anything to something that big, because I mean, you think about it. If we go hunting for a deer, we're going to use smaller ammunition than we would if we're going to go hunt a bear. So
or an elephant or like.
So the largest ammunition we have is elephant or bear or rhinoceros or something. Those are pretty big bullets. But like, now you're talking about something 3-4 times the size of that. We don't have ammunition for that. That's like us getting stung by a bee. It's like, that hurt, but we're not dead. At all. But going back to the cave thing, I was looking online, and there's actually supposedly a lot of entrances to this center Earth through cave systems in the whole world. But America, they've supposedly found a few, and it just doesn't sit right with me, the amount of people that go missing around the same areas that these cave systems are. And they're saying that they just get lost in the caves, which is possible, but it's also possible that they went through the cave and got to the other side, and then whatever happened. But I mean, if you go into a cave, you typically can, turn. I mean, even if you go deep into a cave, you can probably find your way back some way. If you're going into, you're not going into a cave like not knowing shit. Like, I'm not gonna just walk into a cave. You're not gonna just go into like, oh, there's a cave.
Nah,
go as deep as possible.
Yeah, Tomb Raider, right?
Navigate a cave, or you don't go in the cave. But if you go into a cave deep as fuck and you know how to navigate it, you know how to get out. So the people that aren't getting out, kind of doesn't sit right with me, the fact that all these supposed portals into the center Earth are caves. And most of them are in the United States, around places where so many people go missing.
Yeah, and the Himalayas have some too. They have a bunch too in the Himalayas, which is weird. Like the Agartha people or multiple like species have said to come up and like have contact, especially the Vedic. If you go back to Vedic history, that's where the first like pyramid spaceship looking things come up in like their folklore. And they're said to have come out the sky, but maybe they've launched out of the mountain, or have come off the mountain where some of these underground tunnel or cavern things go into. Another thing is too, like, have you ever seen there's the Pirates of the Caribbean movie where they go like to the end of the earth and the water supposedly flips over and like they like rock the boat so the boat flips and then the boat goes upright and they're like in this other world. I believe this is the movie where they like try to find the Fountain of Youth. I forget which Pirates of the Caribbean movie it is, but like I remember as a kid watching it, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. But that's technically another way how they got to the center of the earth is by like, when the dawn hits or the sun, I don't know, it was like some weird area in like earth where like the water would overflow and I don't know, it was like some weird spot. So like, yeah, I'm trying to remember it, but it's like hard. All right. So yeah, that's like another theory too, that you can enter it through the water.
How do you think that will play out? Because like I would assume it's just you just ride your boat the whole way through. But in Pirates of the Caribbean, like you said, they got to flip the whole ship. You think it's like that?
Well, they only flipped it because the water they were going to a spot, but the water was like going up like this. So if they didn't flip it, the boat would have been upside down and would have been floating down like this, like with the sails going down. So the boat would have been like this. Like these are the sails of the boat. If they didn't flip it, it would have went like this. But since they flipped it, they actually floated back up to the top of the surface of the under center world of the earth. This is where like
always try and like lead you in the direction of what's actually up.
Yeah, and this is like what the Holy Grail is supposed to have, like a map of. Like the Holy Grail is not an actual Grail, but it's just like, it's more of a book or a collection of like articles of what all like the biggest secrets of the earth. This is what like Hitler was after during his like reign and stuff like that. A bunch of other like during the Crusades, a bunch of other people were after the Holy Grail and all the other stuff, but they called it the Holy Grail to kind of disguise its actual features or whatever. And people are like, oh, it's a cup with writing on it. Like, no, it's a collection of articles that have like these secrets of the center earth too. So that kind of plays along in the hollow earth theory as well, is that they've come up here, and then all the pyramids around the earth that have been connected to having underground stuff like that. Some of them, like the one we talked about before that's sunken near Cuba, that's supposed to have an underground cavern, that goes into the center earth. And this is where like they were coming up to talk to these pharaohs or these whatever
Yeah.
to, you know, help them out and talk to the people. And like, you know, I guess now we're just in a time where our technology is too advanced, and you know, basically they can't always trust people now because people have guns and people have this and that. I mean, even Amelia Earhart, the flyer or the pilot or whatever, she said there's a legend that Admiral Byrd actually ran into her in the Hollow Earth, but she was said to be like 12 feet tall because of the environment down there. You can still grow past, you know, puberty and all that other stuff. So she actually was supposedly 12 feet tall, and her hair was way longer and everything like that. And he recognized her and like talked to her and all that other stuff, and that's why she hasn't came back. Um, so like, yeah, that's like another thing too. Like
If
you
I
said
get down
earlier,
there, I'm not coming back.
yeah, why would you come back? You have a whole new land, a whole new life to start, and everything like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'd
Intellectually
only come back to bring
superior.
some family, like, or some people I know would be like, yo, let's, you know, like, yo, let's go down
Let me
there.
take you somewhere.
Yeah, let me take you somewhere. Yeah, I'll tell them like, yo, we're about to go on a trip to Dubai, get in an airplane, and just fly down there and never come back.
Even
This
better
don't
than
look like
Dubai.
Dubai. But yeah, it's crazy too, because like the land of the crystals down there too, with the city of the rainbow crystals or whatever, um, are supposed to have like each crystal is supposed to have like a certain like trait to it or something like that outside of the crystals we have here. Um, like up, you know, if they're digging for crystals here, like, you know, so the crystals down there have like certain so I'm gonna just explain the way I learned it, right? So you know how we use crystals right now in our technology and our cell phones, and we use certain crystals for certain chip
Yeah.
and like data, and it just helps store data and all this other stuff. So
Yeah.
they use those crystals down there, and there's like some mega mass computer down there that they have that you know, counts for everything, all the technology down there, and all this stuff, and also keeps all the history in this thing. And I believe Apple bit off of the Mac idea from it, and not to have a pun like they bit off it, like, because but yeah, basically, I think Bill Gates and Steve Jobs both have encountered some type of like alien before, or some
Yeah.
type of person from the center Earth, and that's how they got things going. Because how else can you start a business in your garage making a computer that nobody else knew how to make?
Yeah.
But this computer
Literally
is
the
said
first
to,
of your genre.
yeah. So like, I think this like it's like some like 3,000 times the amount of a terabyte, or probably more than that. You know, in this computer, and these crystals all are used for technology. Like they have scientific like traits to them, where they like, not like a lightsaber or anything, but more like for computer work and all that stuff. So like they use these technologies down there, or they use the earth down there in their science, but they don't have to use it like how we do with all these factories and all this, you know, pollution and
And
all
they're
this
doing
other
it
stuff.
properly.
Yeah, properly, without like I said, the ecosystem down there is so clean and everything. So they don't really like when humans are blowing shit up, or are like digging or using too much. You know, they don't like all this other stuff, which kind of makes sense, because if you think about it, every time there's been a major like world threat, like pollution, or a world war or anything like that, that's when we see a bunch of, or we hear about a bunch of these things. And they always talk to kids, because they know kids are going to grow up, and by the time they're young adults, they're going to be working in these fields of you know, whatever. And a lot of the people that they talk to always have like, well, they don't even really talk to them, right? They use like
Telepathy.
telepathy. And the telepathy is not really like a direct message, but it's more like a feeling, an idea that they can't really get rid of for a while. And I said that it feels like a conversation, but there's no words actually being exchanged. It's just like feelings and emotions. So a lot of the kids that encounter aliens say that they're feeling like they got to save the earth and that our technology is going to ruin us and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like our technology is going to ruin the earth and it's not good and all this other stuff. And then most people are like, well, why would an alien care about earth unless they're not really aliens? And the term alien, technically, somebody from a foreign place or something from a foreign place.
Yeah.
Not really, maybe not really another galaxy or planet, like I said, but just a different land or different nation, which would be a whole nother world underneath us, you know.
Deemed alien.
So yeah. So I think that it's like crazy how you know, we literally kind of have the answers. It's just like we've seen that there's that hole there. We've seen, you know, well, people have cited Bigfoot, people have cited other things. We've seen in you know, if you look back into like World War II times, you look at the pictures of the saucers that crashed in Europe and all this other stuff, like there definitely is evidence here. And I think the best way to, you know, kind of keep people from looking down is to have them look out. You know what I mean? Look out into the space, look out into, oh, where are they? We're looking for, you know, a planet, we're looking for a sign that there's this and that. And the whole time they're probably right literally under our noses. Like the best place to hide something is to hide it under somebody's nose where they wouldn't look typically.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really understand why hide it, honestly. Like, what is the point of, like, as if we can actually go visit these people? Like, we couldn't even go if we wanted to. Just like a trip, for example, a trip to Antarctica. I looked it up the other day. It's like $6,000 to $9,000 to just go to Antarctica, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be on a certain financial level just to go to Antarctica. Now you're going to go travel through Antarctica to the center of Antarctica. Like, I feel as though it's just another way that the government wants to control us. Like, oh, we're not going to tell you about this we know about. But like, what difference does it make?
I think and those tours too, I've seen those tours before, and they're really only allowed to be on a boat off the shore, like of Antarctica. And they're saying like, oh, this
really go around.
They go. I don't think they can like visit unless you're a scientist, like unless you're like a actual scientist trying to study something. And I believe there's only 8 countries that can visit there like legally, unless you're like working with that. Like you can be from America, but you're working with somebody. I think it's like Argentina, France, Australia, some other, like there's like 8 or 9 countries that can.
Where Nazis fled to.
Yeah. Yeah, literally, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, which I just found out too, that the Pope actually helped fund it. There's like a Vatican bank or whatever that helped fund the Nazis going there. And then like, yeah, so that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, and then supposedly the Nazis were there for pretty much the whole World War. Besides like fighting the World War, they were actually in Antarctica looking for stuff and finding things and like
they were conquering Germany, neighboring countries, and Antarctica.
Yeah, literally.
World domination.
So yeah, and then but yeah, back to what you were saying. So my bad. I think that, you know, it's so expensive to go there too. It's just to keep people from going there. And then not only that, why keep it a secret? Because like we said, people will either one, mess it up, 2, they don't want pollution going to the center of the earth. Because if there's pollution in the center of the earth, then we're fucked. Like that's probably like where, you know, like all the elites are trying to go anyways. Or that's why they say all the elites have like underground you know, underground like bases and stuff like that to hide. So like yeah, I think like that's another reason too. It's just like only small percentage of people are allowed to go down there. And then the people that go missing, You know, I probably welcome down there and probably don't come back because they're gonna talk too much about it, and then they're gonna, oh, where'd you go? Where's the cave? Show me where the cave is. Okay, we're all gonna go down there. Now we're gonna go send 3,000 armies down there,
Yeah,
and we're gonna
no
figure out
contact.
and discover. Yeah. Um. So it's just like when you get when you get a bunch of people to know something, all the same thing, then everybody's gonna want to jump on it. Everybody jumps on it. Then, you know, what do we do up here? Like our ozone's at risk right now. The
Slowly
polar ice caps
depleting.
are melting. Everything's messing up. So yeah. All right. I just want to say thank you everybody for staying checked in. Um, this is Michael Zac. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn the post notifications on. Uh, you know, so that way you can get notified every time we post. Follow our socials at the Checked In Podcast, YouTube at Checked In. And yeah, we want to hear your feedback. We want to hear what you know, if we maybe said something um, you know, that you want to expound on, definitely comment on here and let us know. Follow and share this video with your friends, with somebody else who you know that would like appreciate this stuff, or that will be able to chime in on this. We're always open to have that conversation.
Absolutely.
And once again, thank you for being checked in.